Hi guys, Mark here. Thank you so much for clicking. Today we're going to be having a look at Melanie Martinez's sophomore album, K-12. The expectations are high because I absolutely loved Crybaby, sonically, lyrically, vocally, and the theme that ran throughout the whole thing I thought was really smart, and it really worked, and obviously it was commercially successful for her as well. The reviews that I read when K-12 came out from critics was less favourable, I think. I'm not usually swayed by what critics say, but it's interesting because the reviews of the first album were largely favourable. What I'm going to do is going to listen to the first 4 tracks on the album on this video, and if people are interested then I can listen to the other tracks in a separate video. If you enjoy my videos, please do like, share and subscribe. I'm just starting out, and so it would be really helpful for me if you could show me your support by doing one of those things. Okay, without further ado now, let's kick off with track number 1, which is Wheels on the Bus. I'm guessing this is going to be another thematic album, and the Wheels on the Bus is the start of the school day. Okay, so already I think stylistically it sounds reasonably similar to Crybaby in the sense of you've got Melanie's very sweet vocals on top, and then kind of a much harder, sometimes kind of hip hop beat that's in the background. So hopefully sets a good tone for the rest of the album. I love it when she goes deep. She's obviously got very sweet voice, or it can be very sweet, but she's also got quite kind of extensive range, and so when she goes deeper and it gets a bit huskier, I really like that element of her voice as well. Okay, so already here the darker tone in the lyrics is already coming through. The kind of beat and the melody is quite light and up, but thematically we've already got kind of elements of tag you're it kind of vibe there, where there's stuff going on that people are just consciously ignoring when it's blatantly obvious in front of their face. I like how in the background on the chorus you've still got the kind of the melody of the wheels on the bus go round just kind of lightly in the background. Chorus isn't kind of particularly big or impactful yet, but maybe it's going to grow throughout the song. It's quite hard to keep up with the lyrics, so I think I'm probably going to have to go back and read them after I've done this video to work out exactly what she was saying. It was coming out quite quickly then, compared, I think, to the first verse where I understood most of it, so I think I'm going to have to listen a bit closer. I really love how she does her kind of like vocal flips. In one of the other videos that I did with Cher Lloyd, I was saying how she flips into her head voice, and Melanie does. It's not the same, but it's a similar thing. And yeah, it's one of those things that just really gets me when she does it. The kind of lightness of it. I think there's a bit on Cake from the first album where she does that. I think Cake was my favourite song from the first album, even though it was a bonus track. I absolutely loved it, the production, the vocals. I think there's a bit where she flips into her head voice there, which is just absolutely beautiful. It's one of the kind of like lasting memories that I've got of that album. So hopefully there's lots more of that in this album. I wonder whether we're going to get a mid-late that switches it up. It sounds like it. I like that in the background. It's got that kind of like tinny, like ice cream van sound to it. Okay, so that's Wheels on the Bus. I think it's a decent track. I don't think I would skip it, but it's not as strong as a lot, I think, of what was on Crybaby. But I think for an intro track to the album, I think it's absolutely fine. It kind of weans you into what's to come kind of gently, and it keeps your interest, I think, as opposed to kind of giving you everything in the first track. So yeah, I wouldn't skip it. I wouldn't say it's my favourite though. Okay, track number 2 is Class Fight. So she's got to school now. She's still got that comedy in her lyrics. The beat is pretty hard. Ooh. Okay, so I think some of the backing vocals there are similar to those that we used on Crybaby in Part. I can't think which song it was. But yeah, really like that. Also like how it got darker on the chorus. There was a definite shift and a progression from the verse into the chorus. I mean, the lyrics are all, it's pretty dark, isn't it? She's going to beat up this girl, and she's been encouraged to do so because that girl's got the guy that she wants. I mean, I suppose it's true to life, really, isn't it? But for track 2, quite punchy, but enjoying this one so far. Okay, I think it's Soap on the first album that the backing vocals are the same. I think that's just clicked in my head. It might be used on more than one. Okay, so she's actually got her and done what she wanted to do to her. Oh, so that backfired then. Now I gotta wash my mouth out with soap. Now I gotta wash my mouth out with soap. Okay, so that was the end of Class Fight, which is a pretty quick song actually, only 2 minutes 40 seconds. I like the chorus where it got darker. The lyrics, I mean, pretty dark as well. And I liked the beat that was quite hard and incessant, and then the bass got quite dark and deep as well on the chorus. So yeah, I like Class Fight. Track 3, which has already just started, I didn't realise, is called The Principal. I like the sound of this one already. Okay, so I've got no idea which songs on this album have been singles, in that I kind of take Melanie's stuff just on face value. I like listen to it and see what I think about it. I don't read that much behind the scenes about it. But with this track, there's definitely more to it production-wise. And so to my ear, I might be wrong, it already sounds more like a single than the first 2 tracks that we listened to. There's a lot more kind of going on in it. So I think it would be better received on radio or online in terms of getting people's interest just kind of off the cuff. Let me know if I'm right or wrong on that. got the similar effect on her voice on this track as well. Okay, so it's got the strings in it as well, which gives it that kind of sense of grandness. The chorus isn't as big as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be more of a punchy chorus, so maybe actually I was wrong about whether it was a single or not, because ordinarily the single usually has the hook that's the thing that gets stuck in people's heads and is the stuff that sells records. But yeah, let's keep listening. It's got like a kind of noughties R&B vibe to it, production-wise. Strings and the beats, I like it. I just mixed it up as well now. I like this middle 8 bit. Or actually, maybe it's an outro as opposed to middle 8. Okay, so that's the end of the principle. I did like the song. I like the production. I think I said it was like kind of quite 2000s in terms of the strings and some of the beats. And then she switched it up and then had kind of different tempos within the song that kind of took it away from that kind of, you know, the 90s and the 2000s songs where they had that kind of standard beat throughout. But she switched it up so that it kept that interest there. I think the only thing that I'm not sure about is the vocal modification on the chorus. I think I would have preferred it if it was just Melanie's voice. I know that sometimes she uses vocal modification in order to kind of deploy different roles within her song. So on Tag You're It, obviously there's the male voice and then there's her voice, and then they modify her voice to make it sound more manly and more ominous and intimidating. So in that song I get it. This song I wasn't quite so sure about it, and I think probably it could have been, I think I would have preferred it if it didn't have the modification on the chorus. But other than that, I thought it was a good track. So the last track now for this reaction video is called Show and Tell. I like the intro to this. Again, it's got like some like noughties R&B vibe to it. I think it always makes me kind of, it always reminds me why I like Melanie's stuff, in that it's the kind of juxtaposition of her vocal, which is, it can be sweet and then it can be darker, but generally it's quite sweet and light. But actually the subject matter of what she's talking about is so dark, and it's that contrast when against the instrumentation that kind of is the kind of recipe for success, I guess, for her. But it really works for me, and I think it's from my perspective best demonstrated on this album so far on this track, I think. Really like the ad-libs here, and I think this song actually, in terms of Melanie's vocal, I think it's one of those ones that it really highlights kind of how idiosyncratic her vocal style can be. You know, I think I said this on one of the other videos that I was listening to, but certain artists have a really kind of particular sound and style vocally, and Melanie is one of those within a few moments, like you know exactly who it is, and what you're in store for. There are a couple of moments, I think, on one of the other songs where I was getting slightly kind of Lana Del Rey vibes from it in terms of the vocal delivery. But on this track, it's 100% Melanie coming through, and I'm really enjoying it. The production on this song's great. Really enjoy this. There's the guy's voice in the background as well. Okay, so that is the end of Show and Tell, and that's the end of the 4 tracks that I'm going to have a look at in this video. So I think so far, definitely my favourite track of the 4 is Show and Tell, followed by The Principal, and then I think Wheels on the Bus is good for an intro song, and then I'd say probably Classify is my least favourite of the 4. But I think it's a really decent start to the album. I don't know whether people think that the best songs are in the middle or the second half of the album. Perhaps you can let me know whether I've missed out on any obvious songs, and actually to let me know which songs on the album were the singles. If you would like me to continue with the rest of the album, then do comment and like, and let me know that that's the case, and then I will get that sorted for you. But from my perspective so far, I think while it doesn't have some of the standout sounds and production on it that Crybaby did, I think this is a really solid 4-track intro so far on this album. So I look forward to the rest of what she's got in store for us. Alright, thanks so much for watching as usual. If you enjoy it, please do subscribe. Otherwise, I will see you next time for my next reaction video. Thanks, guys.